In Vedic astrology, we use a system of categories to help define the characteristics of each planet. And some of the categories are unique to Vedic astrology. For example, what direction is the planet looking in? And that helps to define how that planet operates. But one of these categories is universal to all of astrology, and that category is what gender is the planet. And the masculine and feminine component of each planet is very critical for understanding how that planet is operating in your consciousness. You could say it's one of the fundamental categories, and that's why it's universally used in astrology. So each person contains the masculine force and the feminine force within them, and each planet is harnessing these two fundamental energies in its own unique way. And so in this series, I'm going to be discussing how gender operates in each person in the context of astrology, specifically with the planets, which are the forces of our conscious selves that constitute the complexity of what we call human nature. So I'm not going to be focusing too much on the zodiac signs in these videos. We'll touch on them, but a simplified way of understanding what the zodiac signs are is that they're a group of skills and abilities within each person. We have each sign, and then those abilities are expressed in either a feminine or masculine way. That's why we also give the zodiac signs a gender. But first, before we even go any further, we have to define what masculine and feminine means in terms of astrology in general. So a masculine planet or a masculine zodiac sign is a force of initiation into the external world. A feminine planet or a feminine zodiac sign is a force of receptivity into one's internal world. And the other major definition of what masculinity and femininity are in astrology is that the masculine force is logical, step-by-step intelligence to maximize one's understanding of the world. And the feminine force is one's emotional awareness and ability to feel personal fulfillment in your life. So the planets are conscious aspects of human nature, meaning that each planet has a unique combination of tendencies, strengths, weaknesses, and purposes, and we could say each planet has an agenda in our consciousness. For example, Venus's agenda is to formulate a healthy sense of internal self-worth. It's a female planet, so it's working on our internal world. It does that in order so that we can receive other people into our lives to make our life more fulfilling. And that is why we say Venus is the planet of relationships. The signs, on the other hand, are a little bit trickier to find, but the way I talk about them, the way I think about them, is that they are, as I said, the abilities and skills that we all have that the planets use in order to fulfill their specific agenda. And with the exception of the sun and the moon, and I'll talk about that in a second, each planet is ruling over a masculine and a feminine sign. So for example, Venus is a purely feminine planet, and some astrologers like to say Venus has a masculine side because it rules a masculine sign. But Venus is purely feminine, even though it rules a masculine sign. So the way I think about it is that Venus is not masculine, but it uses its femininity, its feminine side, its internal focus for self-fulfillment and emotional validation for a masculine goal, which is the exertion of energy externally, and it does that through the abilities of Libra. So to not make it too complicated, a healthy Venus femininity of having a realistic sense of self-worth and value, the person has that internal feminine ability, and it can go out into the world and exchange that value with other people. And that's why Libra, the masculine sign of Venus, is the sign of business and mutual cooperation with other people. So Venus uses its femininity for a masculine purpose through the sign of Libra. And again, I'm not going to be focusing too much on the signs. It's more about getting to the heart of how the gender works in each planet in this series. So while the masculine and the feminine components of each planet are only one component of what that planet is, it's a very, very fundamental component, and as we go through this series, we're going to be able to dig into this specific factor to see if that gender of that planet is functioning healthy or unhealthy in our lives. So in each video, I'm going to be breaking down the specific masculine and feminine qualities, and how we can express them healthily and unhealthily, and with reference to each planet's gender. So there are a couple exceptions to this breakdown of masculine and femininity. And the first is that the sun and the moon, neither of them rule. The sun does not rule a female sign, and the moon does not rule a masculine sign. That means that these are pure masculine and feminine energies. They don't use their masculinity or femininity in any kind of crossed way. So the solar energy is not going to be using that solar energy in any kind of feminine way, which the other 5 planets, they don't do that. They can use their masculinity for a feminine goal. The other exception is, in Vedic astrology specifically, is that Mercury and Saturn are both considered neutered planets, like eunuchs almost, which means that they possess both masculine and feminine qualities in equal proportion, but not to the masculine extent of a masculine planet, and not to the feminine extent as a feminine planet. So these two cases are very interesting. We're going to discuss how these neutered planets have their own unique qualities in their own videos. And so the purpose of this series, or this mini course, is to really untangle and demystify the functions of masculinity and femininity, these forces within us. And I've written about, and I've made a couple of videos about toxic femininity and toxic masculinity in my Substack, and we're going to be incorporating these concepts into the real world as well in the types of examples I can bring forth. But it's really important that we define what we mean by masculinity and femininity, because we want to make these forces healthy within us. And then the extension of that is that we have, it's a huge topic that people talk about in culture and in politics, but I'm trying to bring it back to basics to get a basic understanding of how astrology can help us understand it, and then we can start to apply that into specific cases that we can see in our daily lives. And a very important central thesis that I'm bringing out in these videos is that it's more important for men to develop healthy masculinity and their masculine planets in the first half of their life, or about the first 4 years of their life. And it's more important for women to develop healthy feminine planets and femininity in the first 40 years of their life. And that's because the male and female genetics, and therefore the male and female bodies, are different. And so the most important difference of that is essentially the presence of more testosterone in men and the presence of more estrogen in women. So there's a biological difference, even though we have all of the planets within us. Every man has a divine femininity, every man has a Venus, and vice versa. Every woman has a divine masculinity, every woman has a Mars, a very masculine planet. So we have all the planets. But it's important for men to be developing their masculine planets in the first half of their life, and vice versa for females. So testosterone is the hormonal manifestation of the divine masculine, and estrogen is the hormonal manifestation of the divine feminine. And so these two hormones are fluctuating in both of there's different proportions in each sex. So this is saying that men have a higher proportion of divine masculinity and women have a higher proportion of divine femininity. And so that is an important starting point of this series, and to understand that the sun and masculine planets are very key for men to develop, and then the moon and feminine planets are very key for women to develop. And it comes down to genetics and biology. And the way I'm saying it is that after 40 years of living, if a man has developed a healthy masculinity with himself, he can then balance out his feminine side. But after he's created a strong foundation of his masculinity into his character, into his being, after the age of 40, and specifically from the ages 30 to 40, when testosterone starts to go down in men, that's when they can, after they've solidified a strong masculinity in themselves, then they can balance out with a healthy femininity and kind of soften themselves up in a certain way. For women, after basically age of 40, but most importantly at menopause, is when they have massive changes in their hormones, specifically a drop in estrogen. And so it's very important for women to be developing healthy, positive femininity up until they reach menopause. And so that is solidified in their character. And then after menopause, then they can start balancing out with with a healthy masculine balance, bringing in more masculine traits, or then they can develop positive and healthy masculinity. And then eventually, as the person ages, there's a healthy balance between the two forces within them. So it's important the first half of a person's life that they develop the positive traits of their biological genders, traits, in order to solidify that into the person. And this is all to say that you can't artificially inject hormones into yourself to add more divine masculinity or divine femininity. And in culture, there's this kind of thought that you can just swap these things out. When we talk about Mercury and Saturn, we'll talk a little bit more about the neutral aspect of why those planets are called neutered. But there's no artificial way around it. We're talking about character development. We're talking about how to understand psychology. We're not talking about experimentation with chemicals in order to artificially induce hormones and change our bodies in order to change our character. This is about conscious change. This is about understanding our consciousness and doing the effort in order to make positive changes in our lives. So that is the first starting point, first thesis starting point, baseline understanding to have, is that men are born with more need to develop their divine masculinity in the first half of their life, and women have more need to develop their divine femininity in the first half of their life, whether one is gay or lesbian or not. And so homosexuality, in the context of astrology, it doesn't have a very cut and dry definition in a natal chart as far as I have seen. I think that homosexuality has more to do with samskaras, and we've talked a lot about samskaras. And I'm going to touch on homosexuality and how it works in astrology, and how there are some ways that we can identify it in a natal chart, although I don't have enough charts to study to see if I can find some correlations, but I have a few ideas. Personal planets, Atmakaraka, planets having to do with our body, being influenced by neutered planets or heavily influenced by masculine planets, and vice versa. There's a lot of different combinations that are possible. And if you yourself are homosexual and if you are gay or lesbian, or if you have a non-traditional sexuality, and if you're comfortable, you can feel free to send me an email just for study purposes. I won't share your birth information, but I would like to compare charts to see if there are patterns for people who don't have a straightforward, don't have the traditional sexual orientation or identity. And so, of course, you can send me an email. It'd be totally confidential, and that's just for doing my own research into that. And I'm going to be touching just slightly on homosexuality and gay and lesbian relationships, but they are still human beings in both, and biologically men are born with more divine masculinity because of testosterone, and women are born with more femininity because of estrogen. But there are some caveats that I'll touch on in this series. And so the second starting point of this series is to understand that we all have masculinity and femininity within us in different gradations depending on our natal charts and the placement and health of the planets in our charts. So our natal chart is not a fixed thing. We're using the conscious forces within us. We're using the zodiac signs and planets in different capacities at different time periods throughout our life, and the planets can improve or they can deteriorate in their quality and health and the way that we're using them. So a poorly placed planet we can make healthier, and a really nice planet and a good placement can get worse over time because we take that planet for granted. So another important takeaway is that we all have agency on our lives, and that astrology is not this fixed deterministic system. So as we study gender and as we study the masculinity and femininity of planets and all of the variety of it, understand that a person can always change their habits, their character qualities for the better, for whatever you particularly need to change in yourself, depending on if that planet is working healthily or not. So the first video is going to be about the divine masculinity, then we're going to talk about divine femininity, and then we're going to talk about a couple topics about how relationships in the modern age are being kind of misunderstood, and they're overly complex because of a lack of understanding of the divine masculine and divine feminine, and how to start to heal that. And so video by video, we're going to dive into topics like that, but that's where we're going to start off. Okay, see you in the next video.